Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we are here to talk about the forgotten 4Ks, the top 10 4Ks from 2024 that for some reason nobody's talking about. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so forgotten 4Ks. I was looking, I just did my top 24 for 24. I made that whole list. I got my ones that disappointed me the most. I got that list. And then I looked around and I'm like, there are some other 4Ks that could have easily been in that top 24. And for some reason, nobody's talking about these. Nobody's hardly done reviews of these. They're just off the radar. Some of them I've talked about a little bit, but out here in our YouTube world and just overall, for some reason, these didn't create the buzz that others did, but the restorations and the films and everything else is second to none. So we're going to go for it a little bit. I've got one kind of honorable mention to start it off with because I actually have heard a couple of people talk about this one, but I don't know why it wasn't really talked about more. This was kind of a big title for Vinegar Syndrome because I believe Screen Factory had the Blu-ray, and the 4K restoration on this is redonkulous. It is that good. I'm talking about Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf. Stars Christopher Lee. Man, there's a crazy title sequence where the lead actress just keeps ripping her top off again and again. And this is somewhere between like a classic gothic horror werewolf film and some kind of exploitation film and almost a spoof, it feels like, in some ways. And it's this weird blend that somehow works to be an entertaining film. The 4K here, the release, the artwork, the restoration, the bonus features, it's just loaded, absolutely loaded down. This one's one that I heard a few people talk about, but really not a lot, and it just kind of slid under the radar. But the quality of the restoration here, how this looks, is for the type of film this is and as old as it is and all that, second to none. Absolutely great work here. Great artwork. I don't know how well you can see the back of that, but absolutely great artwork here, and just a great release that nobody's talking about, really. I mean, a few more than the others on this list, but not overall. The next one is from Criterion, and it is a Gus Van Sant film that stars Nicole Kidman, and somehow it's just under the radar. People aren't really reviewing it. They're not talking about it. It's the case with a lot of these. I'm talking about To Die For. This one's oddly ahead of its time. It has like, and of course I've got my Criterion Closet critiques coming up, so this may be on it, so I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. The 4K here looks so good. And this is a nice, like, satirical look you can really apply to today and, like, influencers and online community and everybody's need to be famous. And it's kind of like a dark comedy, almost satirical look at that. Interesting performance by Nicole Kidman here. Just an interesting Gus Van Sant film. Nobody's really talking about it. The 4K looks great. And Criterion put this out this year, and I definitely worth a look if you haven't seen it. But it's just one that's just kind of slid under the radar, like all of these here. But definitely a good release here from Criterion, and one that I recommend on the next Criterion sale. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. Next up on the list is another Vinegar Syndrome, and I've actually talked about this one on my channel, but I feel like me and maybe Daniel from the Cobwebs channel, are the only people who've mentioned this. And this is a super cool star-studded horror anthology that has a great cast. I'm talking about Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. First of all, you got some more badass artwork here on this slip from Vinegar Syndrome. But this film is loaded. You have Christopher Lee in here. You have a younger Donald Sutherland in here. And you know, it's like it's a horror anthology, and you can maybe sniff out what's coming a little bit, but man, does it take a dark turn at the end. And there are some cool stories. You're going to see some other recognizable faces in here that aren't really like on the starring role. All these guys are in a train car together. They're traveling, and damn it, I wanted to say Christopher Plummer, but I just can't spit out his name for some reason. Peter Cushing. I could not spit out his name to save my life. Peter Cushing is they're on this train car, and he's like a fortune teller. He has tarot cards, and each one of these guys' stories is about how they die, and he's telling their fortune, and it's very interesting. And it goes from taking fun to a dark turn. Christopher Lee's is one of my favorites in here. It's like The Artist's Hand. I can't remember the title. This is an Amicus film, and man, does it take a twisted turn. You're going to see Alfred, the guy who plays Alfred in Batman, not Michael Caine, back further Batman. But it's really good. There's only one that's kind of a dud to me in the stories, but the twist at the end is very dark. You feel it coming, but it's the 4K here is just friggin' awesome. So if you're a fan of horror anthologies and you like Christopher Lee, you got Donald Sutherland, you got Peter Cushing. I mean, what more do you want? Check it out. I actually think the price has come down. It's on sale. Totally worth it. I recommend here, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, a great one that very few people are talking about. Now, the next one I have literally heard nobody talk about. Nobody. And maybe it's because it is a overseas 4K release from Turbine, but I am talking about Barb Wire. Now, to my knowledge, we don't have the 4K of this even available in the States. But Turbine put out this 4K steelbook with the slip cover. Here's the slip. Super cool steelbook here. That's the front. That's the back. Just a fun, cheesy action movie, almost exploitive action movie, because it's Pamela in her heyday, so she's flashing the goodies and all that kind of stuff. But a fun movie, a super cool release, a nice restoration here. And of course, you don't have to worry about, most 4Ks are going to be, region free. This one's fun. I'm surprised we don't have this yet in the States, but you can definitely get, Turbine to ship. Just go over there and create you an account. You can import yourself. Sometime, I don't know if Diabolic or Orbit ever gets Turbine stuff. I don't see it very much on there, but definitely worth a look. The 4K here looks great. Fire always looks good in 4K. Pamela looks good in 4K. This is back when, like I said, she was in her heyday. So this is the one that was going to kick her out to be a star. That didn't really happen in a lot of ways, but this is just one that I've heard nobody talk about, and comes from Turbine. Super cool release, nice slip, nice steelbook, great 4K. Highly recommend. The next one is one that just came out, and the only way I've heard people talk about this one is to kind of poo-poo it for some reason. But then I heard somebody that actually worked for Paramount, I believe it was, and knew the story and the restoration of this and all that kind of stuff. And it gives you a whole new perspective on this movie. And I'm talking about Sliver from Vinegar Syndrome. First of all, this 4K looks awesome. It has a whole new color grade in it that the director approved because it was how he wanted it to look to start with. He wanted it to have more of a neo-noir type color grade, and they didn't let him do it upon the wide release. This is also the first time, like this is the uncut version, the uncut, unrated version, but it's also the first time that it has been put out on physical media in the correct aspect ratio. So they had to go through and correct the aspect ratio. They had a new color grade, a new restoration. This definitely has like Rear Window, very voyeuristic vibes. Those 90s erotic thriller vibes to it. A cast of Sharon Stone, is it William Baldwin that's in this one, and one of the Baldwins, and it has Tom Berenger in here. It's a really good cast in this, and maybe the movie's not for everyone, but man, is it pertinent now, like with the voyeuristic society we live in. You want to see everything for everybody, and it definitely has those callbacks to Hitchcock style, like voyeuristic movies. It's not going to be for everyone, but the booklet in here talks about some of the restoration that was done, and if you dig into that, you kind of figure out like what. Of course, Martin Landau's in here too. Forgot about him. Is that something you might be interested in? But when you really, really like watch this, it's very pertinent to today, and that part of it kind of holds up. It's not the best acted film, especially from Baldwin, but you're tuning into this for the erotic thriller vibes. You're going to see a little more of Baldwin than you want to. Plenty of Baldwin but is it Billy Baldwin? It's Billy Baldwin, right? Yeah, William Baldwin. Too many Baldwins. But I think the restoration here in realizing what they went through to make this and to get it correct, everything. You got this nice release, the side loader with the booklet, all that, because you're going to tell that story and everything. I think it's definitely worth grabbing. And this was one that I found this when I was like, I don't know, it came out when I was like 15, and it had Sharon Stone and that whole situation. So it hit me at the right time. So I had the nostalgia feels for it. But then you see the restoration work, the presentation here. You're going to get this for the same price that you're going to get like a standard studio release with a slipcover. Definitely worth it, and super underrated. Only for a 4K from this past year. Nobody's talking about it unless they're shitting on it. So I think it's worth a pickup, and definitely one of the bigger titles. I think we're going to see more Paramount titles coming this year from Vinegar Syndrome. I took the Vinegar Syndrome plunge. We're going to see how it goes this whole year. So if you want to follow along with that, make sure you subscribe. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we get some more titles like this. The next one, with all of the talk of the censorship with the final Riddick film from Screen Factory and what the director did there and all that. If you follow me, I wasn't happy about that censorship. One of the films in that series that kind of got lost along the line and people aren't talking about, and I do not know why, is The Chronicles of Riddick from Arrow. This is one of the most loaded 4K releases of the year. So they give you the 4K in this has the theatrical cut and the director's cut. So you get both those cuts in 4K. You get so this is a 3-disc release. And you get like the video game tie-in or something on here too. I haven't checked that part out because I never did the video game. But you're getting 2 4K discs in here, and everything in actually it's 3 4K discs. Everything that's in here is in 4K. You get multiple cuts of the film. You just get a staggering amount of extras. The disc 3, the limited edition exclusive. You also get multiple different aspect ratios of this film. So you get the 1:7:8. 1 aspect ratio. I can't remember the others. You get, I think it's 3 different aspect ratios you can watch this film in. I just watched, to be honest with you, rewatched the theatrical cut. I have not even watched the director's cut yet. It'd been a while since I saw it, so I wanted to go back and watch the theatrical cut first so that I can remember, okay, here's the base. Now let me see all the different changes. But just that looks fantastic. I mean, you're going to have some dated CGI that maybe will show up a little bit in 4K. But who cares, man? This thing looks great. Vin Diesel, you got Judi Dench in here. You got Carl Urban in here. It's a fun movie. I don't know why people aren't talking about it. Arrow absolutely loaded down this release. If you're a sci-fi fan, you're a fan of this franchise, if you're a fan of Vin Diesel, this is a must own. Like, I don't know why more people didn't talk about it. And getting so many 4K discs in one set, different cuts of the film, different aspect ratios. There is something for everyone. Lots of loaded special features. People complain about special features. You have a lot of stuff going on here. Nobody's talking about it. Definitely one that is super high quality and under the radar. I still got to go back and get Pitch Black. I don't have Pitch Black on 4K, and that's a damn good movie. I need to get that because now I have the other two and I don't have the first one. But this, as far as the releases in this franchise this year, this one wins because there's no censorship. You get a lot of different cuts here. And Chronicles of Riddick, high recommend. Great job on this release by Arrow. Not sure how it flew so hard under the radar. Another one that flew under the radar is a fun one that the cast is just craziness. You got Goldie Hawn, you got Meryl Streep, you got Bruce Willis in Death Becomes Her. Super cool release. Love the cover here. This thing looks incredible, y'all. Scream Factory doesn't miss. They really don't miss very often. Scream Factory, Shout Studios on their 4K restorations. This one was done from the 35mm original camera negative. They put Dolby Vision on this. Fun, dark comedy. I tend to watch this around Halloween, but I feel like January into early February, the coldest part of winter here in January, is also a good time for like horror and thrillers and mysteries. And I'm going to do some cozy mystery lists here soon. I'm going to get that one out there. I've been promising that one for a while. But this is a 2-disc set. You're going to get some different stuff. I think you've got some old commentary on here. A few new features. You're going to get the feature interview with Robert Zemeckis. A lot of people forget that Robert Zemeckis did this film. So you got Zemeckis working here with Bruce Willis, Meryl Streep, and Goldie Hawn. Dark comedy. 4K looks great, and just nobody seems to be talking about it. And I really don't know why. But Death Becomes Her, definitely one of the best sort of forgotten 4Ks from 2024. Another one that was kind of forgotten is another release by Arrow. And I'm a big Henry Cavill fan, and not so much as Superman. Like, I was a fan of his back when he first started, when he was doing The Tudors. If you ever seen that show, he's great in that show. But this movie, I think, is a little bit underrated. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is based on an old TV show. It's a Guy Ritchie film here, and I'm kind of hit or miss with Guy Ritchie, but this one I think is actually underrated. Now, I'm a big fan of like that mid-century modern era 50s, 60s stuff, like whether it's that aesthetic with furniture, the color palette, all that stuff. And that kind of shines in this movie. They added you got the Dolby Vision and HDR10 here. So those colors pop in this movie. And I just think it's underrated. You have, what's his name? Crazy dude. Armie Hammer is in this movie. Trying to remember the girl's name. Anyway, Cavill is the star and Armie Hammer, but like just the cinematography in this is really good. It's high up for me on Guy Ritchie films. And I picked this one up like right away when it came out, and then almost didn't hear anybody talk about it. And I just didn't have time to fit in an individual 4K review of it. If anybody wants an individual 4K review of any of these that I haven't done, let me know and I'll try to get that out. But this one is one that I definitely had a lot of fun with. Bad part was I got a broke case. So That was kind of a negative, but that was a shipping problem, not anybody else's fault. You get your little booklet, you get your little poster with this, and it's just a single disc set, but who cares? It's a fun movie. The 4K looks great. It's got a lot of special features on here. I think it's a fun ride. If you didn't know it was based on an old TV show, it is. I think there's even an old metal lunchbox. I used to collect metal lunchboxes, and I think I had this one. But a lot of fun. For some reason, just under the radar this year. The Man from U.N.C.L.E., check it out. Especially if you're a Cavill fan. If you're a Superman Cavill fan, you're going to enjoy him here. Next one is one that I actually did do a review of, so you'll be able to check this out. But I had to mention it because a lot of people talk about how good Poltergeist 1 4K is. Almost nobody out there except for me was talking about Poltergeist 2. The transfer on this, the restoration here, is ridiculous. I encourage you to check out my video on the review if you're interested. Down to seeing like little sweat beads on foreheads and stuff. This 4K is outstanding. Doesn't matter if you know, a lot of people are like ambivalent about the movie at best. I think the movie's good. It introduces one of the creepiest old bastards ever to scare us as Gen X kids in here. But the family picks up right where the other movie ends, and the family are going and then away from that house, and then it kind of picks up from there. And they haven't quite escaped everything. But the 4K restoration on this is simply stunning. It is that good. Like when you say, no, man, it's that good. No, it's that good. I was talking to my buddy Brian at the last movie standing. He was blown away by the first 4K Poltergeist. I was too. This one stands next to it every step of the way. There's some cool color palettes and effects that just stand out. And I think you got to check it out. You know, who doesn't love a good Poltergeist, good haunted house, good spooky movie? Poltergeist 2, this transfer, and this was a gift from a channel member, Lance, and I am super appreciative because this is a great one, great 4K. But I feel like nobody but me was talking about it this year. There's another one too that didn't make my list because I did a full review of it. But Scream Factory's release of Village of the Damned, go put that 4K in your system. It is redonkulously good. And that movie is better than I remembered it. Just overall, I hadn't seen it in so long. Didn't put it on this list. It's up there in my big set. I got the big black box set. That one's damn good too. I did a review of it and Poltergeist 2. Feel like I'm the only one out here talking about them. But definitely both worth having. As is one that I have beat the drum. Now, nobody else really talking about this too much. I think Daniel at the Cobwebs again talked about this. Everybody else was just like ambivalent about it and it washed off. This is a movie that it'd been so long, it was like a first time watch for me. And the performances here and the 4K absolutely blew me away. I have been banging this drum. Watch this movie. You are not ready for the first few minutes. What you're going to see, it's going to blow your ass away. There's a scene that's going to leave you jaw dropped. I'm talking about The Stepfather. Terry O'Quinn's performance in this was like Oscar caliber. Like you hear about, performances in like Taxi Driver or Joker, like these performances. This performance is right there with them, if not better. I'm going to tell you what, the performance that he puts on in this movie is crazy. And this 4K, you get a lot of the suburban horror vibes. That's a great list. My man Daniel at Cobwebs did a list of suburban horror. And he brought up some stuff I hadn't seen in a while and made me think of others that wasn't on his list. I might have to do a list like that eventually too. Such a great one because there's so much spookiness that can kind of like be hidden under the surface out there in suburbia. And this one, I don't want to spoil too much, and I've talked about it a lot, but this 4K is outstanding. He plays a disturbed like serial killer. You're going to get a lot of fall vibes in this, so you're going to get beautiful colors, fall tone to look at in here with this 4K, but the 4K is just, there's nothing else you could have done to make it better. This is a 2-disc set. You do get a new 4K restoration. here. It's got Dolby Vision. You're going to get a new audio commentary with the director, a new audio commentary with some film critics, stuff like that, new audio commentary with actor from the film. So you're going to get some new stuff. But the 4K here and the movie itself is worth the price of admission. You got to check out The Stepfather. Just absolutely blew me away. Blew me away. But I think the number one movie, this could have been in like top 10 of 4Ks of the year. But because nobody has been talking about it, I decided to put it on this list. Same with these last three could have been on my other list because they're that good in quality. This next one could have been top 5 on that list as far as the quality of the 4K. And of course, the movie is great when I show you. I don't know why more people aren't talking about this one, because this one's sort of a classic. You know, boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. They told us right here in Kindergarten Cop. This is a Kino Lorber release. And while they don't do all their own restorations, they do put out some good ones. And sometimes, you know, people sit back and wait on Arrow to overtake them on a release, and maybe Arrow will, maybe they won't. Nobody can top this release right here. This 4K is completely reference quality. 1,000,000% reference quality. It could have been easy top 5 on my best of 2024, but literally nobody seems to be talking about this one very much. So I felt like it should be the top of a list. And so it's the top of the forgotten 4Ks of 2024. But this thing shouldn't be forgotten because, oh shit, the disc came out. I'm going to leave that in there. This thing shouldn't be forgotten because it is so good. Now, Kino, you know, I didn't get a slip with it. It's one of my knocks on Kino. If you saw where I rated the different boutiques, simple packaging, even their 4K cases themselves don't feel as substantial. Let me see if I can grab one other one real quick here. If you look, it's just by the slightest, but like even Screen Factory's 4K Amaray cases are a bit thicker and a bit longer. They're just meatier, and it is by the slimmest of margins. But I don't know how that is, but like they're definitely it's like by just a grunt bigger. I don't know how or why. Of course, you know, multi-disc sets may always be bigger, and that might be part of what it is. But this has 2 discs in it too. But they don't, you know, it's just a paper slip when you get it. And they kind of run out of slips real fast. So that's one of my knocks on them. But there is no knocking this 4K. It's one of the best 4Ks of the year. It could be at the top, towards the top of the other list. It is absolute reference quality. Of course, it's done from the 35mm negative. Most of the time, your best 4Ks are going to come from a 35mm negative. I mean, that you're just going to get degrees of downgrading as it moves away from that negative. But this one has HDR and Dolby Vision, and it makes use of it. I mean, it's so good that there's parts where like you see where it's like they have, I think it's the very beginning where Schwarzenegger's supposed to have a beard, and I think he didn't have enough beard, and they put beard on him, and like you can see where the makeup is stuck. It's that good. The 4K is that good. It could stand on its own on any list, but I think it deserves to be at number 1 on a list, and nobody's hardly talking about it. And I know it's easy to overlook comedies. I'm a big comedy fan. If I had my own boutique, besides indie films and other stuff that I like, I would try to pick up some comedies because I feel like it's underserved, and they deserve. Comedies usually have bright colors, so they make for good 4K. But this one definitely tops this list. I don't know why it's not talked about. Of course, I'm a big Arnold fan, so maybe I'm biased. But if you've seen that 4K, let me know what you think about it. I think it's absolutely awesome. Kino knocking it out of the park on that one. But that's my list. Just giving some love to some kind of under talked about, underrated, sort of forgotten 4Ks of 2024. You can't go wrong with any of these. High recommend on all of them. Got a little bit of something from everybody here. So that's a good thing too. It means a lot of people are out there doing good work. But let me know, what are some great 4Ks this year that you got that people don't seem to be talking about? Let me know what you think if you've seen any of these on my list. And we're going to move on now. A lot less looking back at 2024, a lot more focusing on going forward. Of course, we're going to do our vinegar syndrome thing throughout the year. We got Chase's Criterion Closet critiques coming up. Of course, you're going to get your lists, rankings, 4K individual reviews, physical media news. You're going to get all that from me. We're going to do a live stream. We're going to keep our live streams going. Lots of stuff, this year. And man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. But wrapping up last year here and moving on for big things in 2025. If all that sounds like something you want to be a part of, please consider liking and subscribing. It really helps out the channel. We want to blow past 15, 20,000 subscribers this year. Bring the pop culture word to as many people as possible. You want to help support the channel, you can join the channel, become a channel member right here on YouTube or at my Patreon link. Get behind the scenes videos, looks at my filmmaking. I'm going to put more of that stuff on there this year. And follow all kinds of extras behind the scenes. You never know what you're going to get. And of course, you're always going to get your name and lights right here. And everything goes right back into the channel. And I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture. And I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.